It was my first time in Tijuana. I went with a small group of Hillside volunteers and staff. I've heard the stories of poverty and the desire for a better life, but I wasn't ready for the reality. Factory workers earning $100 a week, children out of school because of overcrowding, and people living in temporary structures. As we moved from city to city, I kept asking myself one question: where do these people find hope? It all started in a small community east of Tijuana called El Nino, named after the El Nino storms of 1998. Many people were relocated from Tijuana to El Nino because of the relentless flooding. Pastor Daniel, Pastor D as he likes to be called, saw a need for good news. With a background in building maintenance, he built his first church, and in the process, God gave him a vision to build 50 churches across Mexico.
You see a church full of people, and we have 300 people in the church, and you see about 10, 15 cars, because everybody else walked to church. We think that we bring the church to them by planting a church, by ordaining a pastor that will be in that community for that people.
So Kingdom Builders began to build more. To date, they've built over 700 structures. These 700 structures make up homes, churches, and extra spaces for children and education.
Some kids stop going to school after the age of 12, and of course, at 12 years old, 13 years old, the only thing you can do is get in trouble. All these kids that are in our program, almost 1,000 kids that we have in our program, we're keeping them in school by paying for their tuition, by buying their uniform, buying their shoes, and that's the stuff that we do.
Many of the churches they build also have living quarters for pastors who work full-time jobs while trying to sustain their communities. Hillside's partnership began in 2018 and continued through 2019 when we sent a crew to help build. But during COVID, the borders closed and everything was paused.
There is no online giving here in Mexico. Everything is, if you come to church, you give. So there was no giving. Most of the people that just didn't give anything, and then especially some of them didn't have work.
When it looked like their vision would fall apart, God's promise and the people of God's church stepped in. Because of generosity, Kingdom Builders continued to build. As of today, Pastor D and his team have built 43 churches. And we, the Hillside family, helped our partner build one of those churches called New Dawn.
We're very grateful with Hillside for helping us through the COVID when everything shut down, for our workers, giving us money so we can pay our workers. It means a lot to us that you believe in us, and thank you, thank you, thank you.
At the end of our trip, Daphne, our global serve coordinator, delivered a check for $16,000, a gift to help continue the mission. As the sun set and we returned home, I thought about how important that generosity was. New homes, new places to experience God's love. But what about everyone else? What about the other millions of residents of Tijuana? Where will they find hope?